Thursday evening, right in the middle of summer. We are here in this nice, cold, ventilated room for meeting number 197 of Toastmasters Amrita Bangalore, themed My First Love, Cricket. There's a pause there. This club provides a platform for everyone to come up front and speak. But of course, there are some ground rules that must be followed. The very first one, please do not talk about controversial topics like sex, religion, politics, etc. If you want to do so, please do it in a way that does not offend anyone. Second thing, please do not walk around the hall or in fact even leave the hall when someone is talking on the stage because it is very rude and distracting. If you really want to do so, do it during the break or when the audience is clapping. And finally, the last and the most important one, your mobile phones, please keep them in silent or aeroplane mode and keep them away from you so that you don't distract yourself or the speaker. We know we all love our mobile phones, but for now, let's just keep them away. Speaking of things we love, today's theme. As Indians, cricket is there in our veins, is there in our blood, right from when we are born. Some people just love the sport so much, they dedicate their entire life for it. And it's a very simple yet interesting topic. We love cricket so much that there's so much emotion involved, especially for me, the amount of tears I've shed for RCB, that's more than how much I've shed for my exes also. RCB fans. Anyway, I'm totally not being forced to say all of this because it's the theme, and I definitely do not believe that football is better than cricket. With that out of the way, I'd like to call the presiding officer, Toastmaster Janini, onto the stage.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guest present. Can I get a good evening? More energetic? More energetic? It went low. Can I get more energetic? Good evening? Thank you. I welcome you all to 197th meeting. Let me open the meeting. I declare meeting number 197 themed My First Love Cricket open. We all have a mission to be here. That is our very own club's mission. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop their communication and leadership skills, which results in greater self-confidence and personal growth. With that being said, I have few announcements to be made. The first announcement is we'll be having a fun session in Cubbon Park on 22nd April. And along with that, one special thing which we're going to cherish is we're going to celebrate TAB's 6th anniversary on it. I have dropped a message in the group. Please do go ahead and let us know your availability. The second announcement is, can we give a huge round of applause to the goal breakers for the month of March, Toastmaster Jasvitha and Toastmaster Shambhavi. And the third announcement is we have the coronation curtain riser on 15th April from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. I'll be sending the form again in the group. Please do go ahead, register and attend the event. With that being said, coming to today's theme. Before going into theme, we have a new member into our club. That is Toastmaster Revant. Can you please come over to the stage and introduce yourself to the club?
Hi everyone, this is Revant from EC second year. So myself, I'm a very closer person and never ever speak a lot, and I joined the club through my fellow mates, my classmates, and Aditya, who supported me to get into this, and uh, it's great. I just now, yeah, it's great now. Just I came. I need to learn a lot and need to improve more a lot. And I hope I'll get through all those things, and thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Evans. You'll surely learn a lot. Coming to the guest introduction, we have one online guest. Harsha, can you introduce yourself? Harsha, am I audible? Okay, let us go ahead with the theme. The theme for today's meeting, my first love, cricket. Coming to cricket, something which is really memorable and which is strong in each one of the Indian hearts, especially. We all grew up watching the sport. Where whatever sport we watch, cricket has always been like a priority, or at least we know something or have a basic knowledge about cricket. To give us more intro on that, or to take us through cricket, we have our TMoD today. And coming to my first love, good to know that our TMoD's first love was cricket, but my first love was not cricket. So let us know more about your first love, that is cricket. Over to you, Toastmaster Shivansh.
My first love, cricket. At least one person here would be who had his first love at the age around 1920. Sadly, it wasn't an object or a sport, it was a person and had their heart broken. But an insect making weird sounds, well, cricketing sounds, that being my first love, sounds a bit weird, isn't it? Well, it's somehow less weirder than the sport cricket. You look at cricket, it's a basic game. Some 5-6 guys have to be there to be played. A stick and a ball. That should be it. But it has some 1,000 rules. Half of them doesn't even make sense. Before I go any further, it is important to thank the man because of whom we are here at this moment. Ralph Medley, who came up with the idea of a non-profit organization where people can come and improve not their speaking skills, but also develop a personality that will help them get further in life. Ralph Medley launched Toastmaster to the world on 22nd of October 1924. As of today, Toastmaster has 280,000 plus members across 14,700 plus clubs and has spread its wings in some 144 countries. So thanks a lot, Ralph Medley. Now I'd like you guys to just take a trip down the memory lane. Some 12 years ago, date 2nd April 2011. I don't know how many of you remember the date. Some of you might know the game I'm talking about. But for me, if I have to remember that day, you guys would have to come to me, with me, to Parget Colony, Bhoti, Kanpur. That was my first home, the only home I still remember from my childhood. And an 8-year-old TMoD sitting with his family, the obvious ones, the father, the sister, and a younger sister, and a mother. And then there were my 2 cousins, who coincidentally were also in Kanpur and had been invited to watch the World Cup final with us. Everyone knows here the outcome, and everyone's pretty happy about it. That's the only big achievement we've had in some 12, 13 years in cricket. So everyone still remembers it. That game not just told a lot to me about cricket, but also about life in general. And that is also the first game of cricket that I fondly remember. It was 100 over games in total. You could bet me I remember some 70, 80 overs. And to think about how much of a cricket nuffi I am, there's a funny incident which happened in 2nd semester. Me and my mates, we went to Honesta and a highlight was going on over there. And I remember that game. The highlight was from 2019, India versus Australia, second T20I, Bangalore. MS Dhoni's last game. I can tell you the 3 most prominent scores with their balls. And what happened was that this was a quick way for me to get some money. I could just say, it's a highlight, but I can tell you the scores. I can tell you what's gonna happen next ball. And if I'm right, you give me some 10 or 15 rupees. I earned some 100 quick cash. So before I talk about cricket any further, we'll start by introducing the general evaluator for the day, Toastmaster Rama Akathya. Now to introduce Toastmaster Ram, he's someone who's an extrovert and someone who's always looking to irritate the senior members of the Toastmasters. The stage is over to you, Toastmaster Ram.
Good evening, people. Good evening. Yeah, that's the energy I want. So I am the general evaluator for today. So what happens in the meeting? So just not come and talk and do whatever you want here, right? There should be a set of guidelines and people to evaluate you so that you improve. So I will be evaluating the whole flow of the meeting today. So to do that, I need a team, right? Dreamwork is the teamwork. So for that, I have my tag team, timer, our counter, and grammarian. So let me call up the timer first. Toastmaster Jasvitha. The way she thinks and behaves are the same, but I try to be mostly sane, but I don't agree with that. Anyway, let's call upon Toastmaster Jasvitha.
Good evening, everyone. Whether it be a Toastmasters meeting or cricket, timing is really important. An umpire and a batsman knows the importance of timing. 1 second could change the whole game. Similarly, for a Toastmasters meeting, a speaker should contain him or herself between a time range. For that, I'll be doing the umpire job for this meeting. For this, I'll be using my timer cards. For prepared speeches, as we don't have any icebreakers, the time limit is 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, I'll be raising my green card. At 6 minutes, it's yellow card. And at 7 minutes, it's red card with a buffer of 30 seconds. And for the speech evaluations, it's 2 to 3 minutes. The similar way, 2 minutes, it's green card. 2.5 minutes, it's yellow card. And 3 minutes, it's red card with a buffer of 30 seconds. For the table topic session, it's 1 to 2 minutes with 1 minute for green card, 2 minutes for yellow card, 1.5 minutes for yellow card, and 2 minutes for red card, with a buffer of 30 seconds. And if the buffer is crossed, you will be disqualified for voting. With this being said, I'll be called upon when general evaluator calls at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Next up, I have the R counter, Toastmaster Tapan. He recently completed his icebreaker speech. This is his first tag team role, and today's topic is about cricket. He's a big cricket fan. So let's welcome Toastmaster Tapan.
Hello, Toastmasters. I am Tapan, and I am a counter for today. The purpose of this role is to take a look on the crunch and pause fillers role, which will damage the quality of the speech. Throughout the session, I will be observing the words whoever speaks the words like repeating words like and well, but so, and also repeating words like all this. At the end of the meeting, I will be with my report. Thank you.
Next up, we have the grammarian, Toastmaster Aditya Meti. So his intro goes, I'm a person who's an ambivert and loves to write poems in my free time and has a special request to mention his name Lion. So let's welcome Toastmaster Lion, aka Aditya Meti.
So yeah, good evening again. Good evening for the first time. I'm the grammarian for today, and I love this role. So today's word of the day is very beautiful, as you can see up there. It's commemorate, which means to remember officially and give respect to a great person. For example, it would be like recently we commemorated the death of Amma's mother, something like that. And the idiom of the day is also beautiful and relates with the topic. So it is to hit someone for a six. And I hope you guys use the idiom of the day and word of the day in your speeches. And to explain about my role, I would be evaluating you guys based on the good usages and the not so good usages, where you guys can improve your communication skills and your grammar syntaxes. And yeah, I'll be called upon here by the general evaluator to present my report at the end of the meeting. Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, that's my team. So before signing off, I would like to talk about today's theme, the first love. All of you would have a person as your first love, but my first love was a bike. So let me tell a quickie story before I go ahead. So I come back from school, 3:30, small boy, really enthusiastic, comes, parks the cycle, and sees a bike, a Royal Enfield Himalayan. So I go up. So I'm like, there's some three people I've never met in my life. So I go there. The first logical thing to do is go and tell hi to the person. So I go, Anna, is that your bike down? Can I go for a ride, please? Please, my love, please. I want to take it on a ride. So that's how I go. So my first love is not a person, luckily, so that would break my heart. It's an object which will always last. So thank you and over to TMoD.
I've kind of set the scene for the 2011 World Cup final. Before I go any further, who all here have RCB as their favorite franchise or favorite IPL team? I feel really sorry for you guys. And also the jokes kind of write themselves for you guys. I mean, a team that cannot defend 200 plus total. How can you not laugh about them? My personal favorite, Chennai Super Kings, mostly because of Dhoni. Only reason actually is Dhoni and somewhat Rana. Now, before going to the prepared speeches session, I'd just like to talk a bit more about cricket and my first love and how I kind of fell in. Now, the thing about my family is cricket is the one thing that brings my family together. Everyone in my family loves to criticize players on how they are not playing well enough. They are escaped by criticism by no one. It starts from my grandmother and it ends to my little sister. Every one of us have one different opinion and a different player too. So it kind of cricket unites us in a way that it gives us different topics to argue at. And that's what basically an Indian household is. How much can you argue? Now, going to the prepared speeches session. So our speaker one for the day is Toastmaster Harsha. And before I call upon him, I'd like to call upon his speech evaluator, Toastmaster Dinesh. And so Toastmaster Dinesh is a part-time student and a full-time overthinker.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shivansh. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and a special good evening to Toastmaster Harsha, who is attempting his level 3 project 2 in the pathway motivational strategies. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice using a story within a speech or giving a speech that is a story. The time limits of this speech is of 5 to 7 minutes. Timer, please make a note of it. And his personal goal that he's trying to achieve from this speech is to make things more descriptive. Looking forward for an amazing speech, Toastmaster Harsha. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Now, so I wasn't actually planning to ask Toastmaster Harsha for an intro because I just was gonna go with the regular one, but somehow he changed his intro. So here's Toastmaster Harsha's intro. A simple guy who loves to smile and make people smile. A fighter who fights for the existence of veg biryani. I'm so sorry to say that there is nothing called veg biryani. It's just a pulao. Toastmaster Harsha, not a tale of misery. Not a tale of misery. Toastmaster Harsha.
House number 81, bar 2, C2, Raghavendra Nagar, Kurnool. It was in 2010 and there were a house full of people. In the veranda, the owner of the house, my grandpa, was sitting royally sipping his tea. In the hall, my mom, dad, uncles and aunties were chit-chatting. In the kitchen, my lovely Nani was cooking authentic Andhra dishes for all of us to eat. But our story is not from any of these rooms. It starts from an area behind these 3 rooms, the wash area. Manjula was sitting in that wash area, but out of all the smiles in that house, she had the biggest and the most beautiful smile. Little did we know that there was a tale of misery behind that beautiful smile. A very good evening, Toastmasters and my dear guests. Manjula was a maid in that house. Growing up, I always looked at her like a beaming personality with a lot of cheerfulness inside her. If a room full of people were laughing, I knew that Manjula was exactly in the middle of the room. But on the flip side, she was married at a very young age, and in the span of 5 to 6 years, she had 3 kids in her hand and a blithering, idiotic, drunkard husband. Nothing in her life was easy, but she was motivated to do only one thing. Whenever a school bus used to pass by her street, she dreamt of her kids boarding that school bus. She wanted them to be educated. But as I said, nothing in her life was a bed of roses or a cakewalk. Everyone in her street were looking at her like a maniac because education was only a myth to them. To make things more worse, she used to get stabbed every time she walked down those streets by the judgmental looks of the society. Every day, her husband used to come home, beat her black and blue till she gave him some money to buy alcohol. Days turned into months, months into years, and her agony never came to an end. One day, she decided not to give him money anymore, rather save it for her kids' education. That day, that idiot came home with the same intent of beating her up. She locked herself inside the room to escape from all the atrocities of her husband. In the unending chaos, she forgot to bring her kids inside. On one end of the door, there was Manjula trying to hide. And on the other end of the door, there was her husband who could do anything with the kids. She felt something was not right. She stepped out of the door. And the moment she stepped out, she was heartbroken. Her husband was pointing a knife right at the kid's throat. Her heart was shattered into pieces. But she picked up all the pieces together, only to muster up courage. At that very moment, he should have known better. In the end, if you are trying to harm Manjula's kids, boy, you're not going to end up fine. She slapped him hard, and in the next second, she was chasing him down the streets of Raghavendra Nagar. That felt liberating to me. Not just because she was chasing down her husband. She was chasing down society's judgments and the fear of physical abuse. She walked down the same street again, but this time, she held her head high. The tale of misery was turning out to be better. Exactly when her eldest son was becoming a certified physiotherapist. A couple of years later, he was recognized in front of a large crowd as a certified physiotherapist, and Manjula's face was beaming with pride. I still remember the day when she came running to my house and told my grandpa how proud she was about Naveen, her eldest son. But we didn't know what was coming her way in the upcoming days. On a fine day, she went to work. She thought everything was all right. But while she was doing her daily chores, she felt something uneasy. She consulted a doctor, and that's when her life turned upside down. It was cancer. Countless hospital visits, constant medication, and an incandescent hope from her heart. Nothing could save her. Now, when I walk to the wash area, I don't see that beautiful smile anymore. Is this the end? Not really. That ending was a whole new beginning. Manjula left this world, but she left a mark on the little world around her. Manjula's kids are now studying, and they went on to become engineers and landed up a job at one of the metropolitan cities. The same blithering, idiotic, drunkard husband is not a drunkard anymore. He has his own carpenter business in the same street where once he was chased down by Manjula. The kids in her locality are going to school. Every time a school bus stops by that street where there was an educational void, my heart swells up with happiness. Yes, Manjula did leave this world, but she left a mark on the little world around her. Now, I wonder how many Manjulas are around us. I wonder how many Manjulas are trying to make a difference. I wonder how many Manjulas are trying to turn their tale of misery into not a tale of misery. Manjula did lead a life filled with misery, but was it a tale of misery? Toastmaster of the day.
Wow. Sometimes you don't have to speak too much about the impact of a speech. Just wow. A hard hitting and a sad reality of the world was presented to us by Toastmaster Harsha. Calling upon next is our second speaker of the day, Toastmaster Sri Vidya. And for her, the speech evaluator is Toastmaster Shambhavi. Now, Toastmaster Shambhavi says she hasn't been a huge fan of cricket, but she does like to learn about everyone's first love and finds it pretty much intriguing. Toastmaster Shambhavi.
Good evening, everyone, and a special good evening to my target speaker, Toastmaster Sri Vidya. Toastmaster Sri Vidya is attempting her level 1 project 3 under the pathway presentation mastery. The purpose of the speech is for the member to practice using vocal variety or body language to enhance the speech. Toastmaster Sri Vidya, I'll be evaluating you based on both vocal variety and body language. All the very best to you, and over to the team.
So Toastmaster Sri Vidya says she loves cricket because she believes scoring runs is easier than scoring marks. I don't know. You've been scoring more marks than me in every subject. Toastmaster Sri Vidya. Toastmaster Sri Vidya, the new habit, Toastmaster Sri Vidya.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shivansh. So first of all, I would like to start by asking you all a question. What is one thing that you always long for when there's something that you have to do, but you're not interested to do? Like, for example, let's say there's a subject that you don't want to study, but you have to study it anyway. What is one thing that you would always long for? Okay. Yes. How many of you wait for motivation to do something? Most of us do, right? Yes. So today I'm going to give you a different perspective on motivation. I know most of us believe that motivation is something that
it's basically a driving force that helps us work towards our goal, right? We always wait for motivation, like something should happen, something, a miracle, or someone has to come and push us. But let me tell you, I believe that discipline is equally important. In fact, more important. Well, discipline is something that you need to bring in, no matter, even if motivation is something that helps you get started, it helps you uh, initially get over your fears, uncertainty, or self-doubt. But earlier, the better you bring in discipline into your life, because motivation does not long last. It is something like building a house over a foundation of sand. It is not sustainable at all. It ultimately leads into disappointment and failure, and you start blaming yourself and the people around you. But discipline is something that helps you stay on track, irrespective of how you feel, your mood swings, or anything. Someone said something, I'm sad, I'm not in a mood to do something. So discipline is the ability to consistently work towards your goal. Now, let me give you a small example to differentiate between motivation and discipline. Let's say you decide to go to a gym. You're fully motivated. You're like, I'm going to be the next C-bum. I'm going to get that girl, or I'm going to get that guy. Does it happen in a day? No. Let me take a reference from Harsha's speech. He spoke about Manjula. Do you think she could save up all the money in a day? Or do you think she could motivate her husband to get his own business in a day? No, it takes consistency. You have to consistently do it. And that's what creates progress. Do you know the real reason behind her lifting her head up and walking down the lane? That is the key. That is the fruit you get out of discipline. Now, this just does not apply to this area of life. It applies everywhere, be it learning a skill, your career, or in maintaining better relationships. And there are a few tips that I would like to share on how you can bring in discipline in your life. The first one being, set a clear goal. It's really difficult to work towards something that you're not clear about on what your goal is. So set clear and specific goals. The second thing is commit to it. Break down your goals, stick to the routine, create a plan, and see to that you achieve them consistently. The fourth one being, be accountable for your decisions. I know a lot of us, if something goes good, we take all the credit, but something goes bad, you blame it on others. So always own your failures, because that is what helps you reach the success. I know. Let me tell you one thing. Motivation fizzles out as quickly as it came. Now, I have friends who have the potential to demotivate Sandeep Maheshwari also. There's no way. I am completely sure. And you go tell your friend saying that, you know what? I'm going to study. I'm going to finish linear integrated circuits today. My friend just gives me a stare. My whole motivation shatters right there. But when it comes to discipline, I know I'll clear this one topic. I'll do OPAM today. I'll do diodes tomorrow. That's how it goes. You finally achieve it. So no matter what happens, keep a track on how your progress goes on, and always believe that discipline, you either have to bear the pain of discipline or bear the pain of regret and failure. So in the end, I would like to end it with a quote saying that motivation does not last every day. So does bathing. That's why we recommend it every day. I'm not sure of the hostelers, but I'm a hosteler, which is why I'm telling you this. So it is something you have to do. And at the end, I still leave an open question to all of you. Motivation or discipline? Thank you. Over to you, first.
Again, thanks to Toastmasters Vidya for that wonderful speech and asking a very difficult question to us. Would we rather have consistency of maybe a lower peak or a huge jump of a high peak. Uh, Speaker 3 for the day is Toastmaster Veerbhadra Rao. And he's already turned on his camera. So Toastmaster Durga is the speech evaluator for Toastmaster Veerbhadra. And Toastmaster Durga says she's a person who loves to read, write, and sing. And her first love was always and will always be cycling around in her hometown. Over to you, Toastmaster Durga.
Thank you very much, Shivansh, TMoD today. Hello, everybody, and a very special hello to Toastmaster Vinay, who is delivering his L3P3A of the project Engaging Humor. And the purpose of the project is for the member to practice using a story within a speech or give a speech that is a story. Moreover, I have connected with Vinay, and what he's trying to achieve is quite interesting. And I'll explain more about that in the evaluation. For now, timer, please note the speech length is 5 to 7 minutes, and all the very best to Toastmaster Vinay. I can't wait to hear your story. Back to you, TMoD.
Now, Toastmaster Vinay believes he's the most unluckiest person in the world and he cannot be described in words. So, over to you, Toastmaster Vinay.
Speech title.
My bad. Toastmaster Vinay, a big hole, Toastmaster Vinay.
Just like everyone described, I am the first love of a person. So, can anyone guess who is that person? Okay, taking time into consideration, the person is none other than bad luck. Not me. There are other 6 people who are the second, third, fourth, first love, second love, third love, fourth love of bad luck. So I'll be telling about them later. But today I'll be telling you a very action, horror, thriller, and comedy story which happened in my life. And let me continue that. There are 7 people who planned a trip to Uttar Durga. The 7 of them are Chanti, Banti, Chintu, Tinku, Rinku, Tinku, Dinku. So these 7 people thought of booking a car in Zoom. After booking the car, they went to the Zoom office to collect that car. In that journey, Chanti, Banti, and Chintu went to collect that car. So after going there, we know normally when someone goes to pick a car, they gradually take the car and they'll ride. But these 3 people started doing Inky Pinky Ponky. Just like Inky Pinky Ponky, father has 3 donkeys, him, and me. Telling about those 3 donkeys, the first donkey is Vipanch Gadicharla Ganesh. The second donkey is Maidar Sai, alias Macha. And the third, the most beautiful, the most interesting, the most unluckiest and depressed donkey. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters and my dear guests, I am Vinay and I am the third donkey. So after taking that car, I am the first person to sit on the car and drive. Golden hand, remember that. So I started the car and after a while, I gave it to Ganesh. Between our journey, Ganesh showed the moon to both of us, Mahi and me, and he was like, "Hey Macha, look at that moon, Ram. It's looking more beautiful than yesterday." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, it was so beautiful." Remember this sentence. So after that, in halfway, Govind joined us. We picked Govind, and while going at HSR layout, we got to know that the tire is flattened. So at 1:45 p.m., we went to HSR we watched for a mechanic at 1:45 p.m. So we went to the mechanic and told him that the tire got flattened. So please look at that. After examining the tire, he concluded that it got 3 punctures. 3 holes. Telugu people, You can translate that into Telugu. So it got 3 holes. And after repairing those 3 holes, he concluded that he charged us 500. And that 500 is another big hole for us. So after that, we paid him the 500. We started our journey. We went to Kormangla to pick up Samakka and Sarakka, who are none other than Vinodna and Niharika. We picked them up and the actual journey started there. We started the car. We were going fine. We were so happy. And then we started singing songs from some random movies. And the people who know the lyrics, they were just enjoying singing the lyrics. And the people who do not know the lyrics, they were just acting like they know the lyrics and just playing the tunes. But somehow we are enjoying. And there's this one person called Govind who is massaging me from my back. And then we stopped for a coffee break. We drank it. And Mahi, you know about Mahi? He's playing with a kid, a small kitten. So we started. In that enjoyment, we even reached 150 speed. And then we were so happy and we were so excited to go to Uttar Durga and then enjoy there to finish the trek. We almost reached the destination. We were 13 kilometers away. There's a turning which takes us into the village. And then we took it. We were 13 kilometers away, and then suddenly we got a noise from the car. We don't know what's happening. And then the tire which got punctured got flattened now. So we stopped the car aside. There is full of darkness. There is only a single light which we are able to see. And then we stopped the car there. We went there, and then we were just speaking about something which we were helpless. We were nowhere with a flattened tire, and it's almost 4 in the morning. And then we started worrying a lot. I and Govind started walking to a distance where we are listening some temple musics. So in the middle way, Govind was like running so fast, and I was so scared. So going there, I was getting Kantara vibes, and this guy from my back hold my shoulder. And then what happened is we came back. We were stopping many people in the middle way. And these people were like, I went to them without knowing any Kannada language. I was like, Anna, tire flat aichu, air beku. And these people were looking at me like I'm an alien coming from Mars. So after that, Ganesh and me took the tire to the petrol bunk. And after going to that petrol bunk, there is no one there. We were just depressed there. And then the main reason for going to Uttara Durga is to enjoy the sunrise. But then I enjoyed the sunrise from HP petrol bunk. So after that, we came back, we repaired the tire, we put it through the car, and then the car worked actually. So after this, a long adventure, we had no time to go to the sunrise, and then we came back. The moral of the story, do not book a car in Zoom. And then if you book so, do not give it to me first to drive. Do not go to trips with 7 people. And then the only good thing which happened in this whole story is the thing which we stayed united, and then we do not lose our temper at any point of time, and we enjoyed every single part of the journey, even though we are not able to finish the trip or something else. So that's it from my side. Over to TMoD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vinay, for that brilliant retelling of a funny incident. And as usual, you were as humorous as it gets. Now, coming back to 2nd April 2011. The toss, there was a bit of controversy in the toss. No one really knows what happened, to be honest. And some 3.5 hours later, the first innings has ended. Sri Lanka has posted a decent total. And there comes the first comment from my father. Are ye to haar gaye aaj. They're gonna lose today. I mean, at that time, we were going so well. The Zahir Khan has bowled brilliantly at the start. And then out of nowhere, Jayavardhan starts to hit. Sangakkara starts to hit. And then at the end, a young player by the name Thisara Parera just smashes it out the park. Then the second comment comes from my mother. अरे ऐसे थोड़ी हार जाएंगे. And that's exactly how life is, isn't it? You feel like everything's going fine, and then out of nowhere, boom. Suddenly there's someone or something that's making a mess out of it. And boom, exactly. You need to react in an instant at that moment, isn't it? That is exactly what you're expected to do in a TTM session. I would like to call the TTM master for the day, Toastmaster Madhumitha. Toastmaster Madhumitha, when asked for an introduction, sent me. She's an ambivert who believes that the first step towards getting somewhere is to decide that you're not going to stay where you are. Over to you, Toastmaster Madhumitha.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and my dear guest. I'll be the table topic master for today's meeting. Table topics help you to improve the art of thinking and listening. The first thing, listening. The second, thinking. Third, organizing. Fourth is delivering it. So basically, when you attempt a table topic session, it helps you to think on your feet and improve these skills. Well, the topics that I have prepared is related to today's theme, my first love, cricket. Well, everyone has a first love as a person or a thing, but for Shivansh, it's cricket. Now let's see what all inputs you have on this theme. Well, playing, watching cricket in ground to playing it on our cell phones, everything has changed. But one thing didn't change, that is a love for games. So let's jump to the table topic session. I have a box in which I have the table topic questions. Anybody who would like to volunteer? You can pick a chit from this, and whichever question you get, you have to answer it. And the time limit is from 1 to 2 minutes with a buffer of 30 seconds. My first volunteer. Anybody from online? Ravens. Choose one. Yes. Okay. His question is, if you had the chance to propose your first love, how would you do it? If you had the chance to propose your first love, how would you do it? Over to Toastmaster Raven.
It's totally new thing for me, actually. I would repeat my question. If you have the chance to propose your first love, how would you do it? So this is my first experience. When I started my journey from the 6th standard, I got into this love and got to know this type of emotions and all. So it was bad ending for everyone. Like it's a nibba nibbi type of thing. You all know. So it would be very easy for us to get out from those things, and now it is very hard. So what I did when this happened is I went to her and I just told we would travel in one cycle on the same cycle. I would be carrying her on the backside, and there it started, and it got touched and everything, and and I asked her like, where do you live? And for the first day I traveled with her, and I asked her, where can I leave you? She showed her home, and she took me into her home, and she took her to her parents and everywhere. And and I told finally, like, what do you think about me? If I would say, I love you. She laughed at me, and she's more mature than me actually. So she told no thanks, and this is what I told her. This is a bad ending, and so this is how it went. And thank you.
Well, that's a very sweet first love. Okay, yeah, very sweet and embarrassing. Okay, who will be anybody? Daksh. Pick up. Okay. His question is a sports star you admire the most. A sport star you admire the most.
Okay, so I have two answers for this. The very first, it depends actually on, what kind of admiration you want. First one is actually Lewandowski. He's a footballer. I won't be surprised if nobody knows who he is. The, re- the reason why I admire him is because he was loyal to his club. He's been in that club for a long time. He's won trophies and he stayed in that club. Granted, he actually left last season because he was getting old, but he was pretty loyal to that club. And, that's a trait which I really admire, being loyal to someone. Yeah. Yeah. The second person that I admire is actually Thibaut Courtois, another footballer. You might not know him again. Okay. The reason why I admire him, very nice story. His teammate was this guy called Kevin De Bruyne. He had a very nice girlfriend, but he cheated on her. So this guy, Courtois, as a revenge, he stole his girlfriend. Yeah. This is a real story. I'm not kidding. And I really admire that because I also want to be that kind of a person. No, why? Because I have some very harami friends and I like to play with their life. You only know. Wait, bro. You are the next person. So yeah, these are the two people I admire the most. Sport person. One of them is Lewandowski. The other person is Thibaut Courtois. Thank you.
Good inspiration. Anybody who would like to take from online peeps? Vinay?
Yeah.
Pranav, would you like? Okay.
You can go. Yeah, actually.
Okay. Pranav, would you like to take up this table topic question? Yeah, I can pick one for you.
I'd go after Vinay if possible.
Okay, I'll pick one for you. Okay. My question to you is, would you rather be rich or famous? I repeat the question. Would you rather be rich or famous?
I would be rich rather than being famous because being rich makes you famous. So after being rich, you can get more benefits. Also, if you are famous, your privacy will be, disturbed, and no one cares about. Everyone cares about you. But being rich, your privacy won't get disturbed. I like being in center of 17 security guards and then going in a BMW car with that status and having some thumbs up drinks backside of my car seat, and then chilling with my friends for every holiday. If I am rich, but being famous, you get nothing. You'll be posted on those magazines and everyone will be clicking photos of you without your permission. So, chichi. I don't want to be famous. I just want to be rich. Also, there are many advantages if you be rich rather than being famous. Just like Elon Musk, he's not so famous, but sorry, he's so famous after becoming rich. So, just like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinay, for attempting that question. Pranav, would you like to go ahead? Yes. Online games, a boon or a bane? I repeat it. Online games, a boon or a bane?
Okay. So when has there not been a time since PUBG, CODM, everything came online and we lost our sleep? People over there, I cannot see you all, but I hope many of you over there can relate to what I'm trying to tell. Yes or no, maybe? Okay. So online games, a boon or a bane? This topic is like a coin which has two sides. So there are the positive aspects and there are the negative aspects. So the positive goes on like there is this. Okay, so when I was playing PUBG with my friends, so there was this concept called synergy. Apparently that meant the connection between the players. So that increases with your friends. So you become very good friends with all the people. And another advantage was you need not go out of your home to play games. Yeah, so I mean, our generation is the most laziest of all. I would proudly tell that. And coming to the disadvantages part, yes, I got power. Playing for a long time in phone got me a very good eyesight. I mean, a very good power on my eyesight, and I learned a lot of bad words I could scold people with. So yeah, that's it. Over to you. Over to you, TTM. Thank you.
Thank you, Pranav, for your take on the online games. My last volunteer, Niklesh. How would you convince a kid playing a video game to play an actual sport? I repeated. How would you convince a kid playing a video game to play an actual sport? If you want, you can call upon a volunteer.
What is the question again? So, okay. How would you convince a kid playing a video game to play an actual sport? Well, that's a very good question. No, I'd rather not call people to play an actual sport. I'll give you a very good reason for that. Since this topic is, cricket, about cricket, whenever you go play cricket outside, there are a lot of rules, okay? In general, any sport has a lot of rules, correct? But when you go and play outside, gully cricket, ICC, BCCI, they don't consider this. When they talk, T20 is a sport, ODI is a format, again, Test is a format, gully cricket, no. You can't just have enough rules for gully cricket, okay? And one very difficult problem while playing gully cricket is if the player with the bat, if he owns that bat, no. And if he gets out, he takes the bat and goes home. So I wouldn't convince anyone to come out and play an actual sport because this is a very difficult problem. And if the ball goes in the gutter, you have to go and get it. Now that is another big thing. And talking about other sports. Let's take another sport, football. Football is another tough sport. See, when you're playing football, actual football with regulations, there's a post, there's a very defined post. But when you're playing it outside with your friends, outside your house, you stand like this, the goalkeeper stand like this, you hit the ball from there, it goes somewhere over here, and then the next thing which is happening is you're arguing with the goalkeeper. Bro, the ball was above my head, bro, that does not count, bro, this does not count, bro, that offside. And offside, that is one big headache. You stand, bro, you'll say, bro, I was standing here. I was not standing here. I was standing here. That's a big thing. So best thing I would say is go on, play online games. Because if you want to play an actual sport, you better go to a coaching and not just come outside your home and play. Thank you.
Kudos to all the table topic speakers who came up on the stage and the online table topic speakers who took up the question and answered it. That's it from my side. Over to Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Shivansh.
Thank you, Toastmaster Madhumitha, for these intriguing and interesting questions for the table topic session. Now, the mid-innings break has started. applies, and we're back. First ball, close scare. Second ball, Sehwag gone. Again, the comment comes. इनसे तो नहीं ही होगा. This time, my mom agrees. Some 3-4 overs later, Sachin gets dismissed. That's it. TV off, moment of silence. But the 80-year-old in me didn't know about Sachin's legacy at that time. I'm like, no, please turn it on. Let's just see them, even if they lose. And suddenly there's a new guy, a rash guy from Delhi. He abuses. He has no issues. He has no concerns about his fitness or anything. He's in what way most of us North Indians are. They don't care what's going to happen. If they're in the mood, they'll just do whatever they want to do. He comes out. Now imagine the pressure on someone who's coming out to bat right after the country's hope for the last 24 years has been dismissed. Wouldn't it be tough? And who's on the other hand? Another Delhi guy. Again, remembered for his one knock in 2007. And the other thing is, both of them, Delhi guys, obviously they've got some camaraderie and everything, but they're hot-headed too. You never know what's going to happen. Some of you might have seen that RCB versus Lucknow clip from the recent game. So you never know what's going to happen with them. And then suddenly they start playing, some shots are flowing, and a partnership is brewing. Exactly like life. When there's a setback, sometimes all you need to do is wait for a bit and then plan your next move. But there's also another way to go about it. Like the English cricket team teaches us. You just go bang, bang and see what happens. Taking decisions in life is not an easy thing to do. And there is no set of rules you can just follow. Some of us here, after a setback, might just want to take a few steps back, assess the situation, assess what they're going to do next. And some of us, like me, impulsive, they're just going to go around, scream what happened to them, and then do something, and later be like, what the hell was I thinking before doing that or drinking that? Now, we'd go on a break for 5 minutes. Timer, please set a time limit of 5 minutes for the break. Yeah. I hope everyone is relaxed enough. So before the break, I was just talking about, how there are different ways to react to life. And how I was talking about two Delhi boys who took their time to reassess the situation and made a partnership out there. Then Kohli gets dismissed. Most of you know what happens next. It's kind of a lore in Indian cricket, isn't it? But before I go to there, I want to go to a third Delhi boy. He's a youngster. And name is Rishabh Pant. If you were to ask me who's the most exciting cricketer in the last 5 years, it's easily and definitely going to be Rishabh Pant for me. He comes out to bat in England in his test debut, and the second ball, he smashes a 6. It's a test game, not a T20I or an ODI, a test. The one format where it's okay to not smash a 6. And after that, his career in test is going good. But even then, there are comparisons to the great MS Dhoni. And then there are his doubters, because he's revolutionizing a 100-year-old thing. And just like that, in society, exactly how Toastmaster Harsha talked about Manjula. Whenever someone tries to revolutionize something or tries to oppose the societal norms, there's always a resistance and a criticism of that. But if you're strong enough, you keep doing it. Just like Manjula did, and just like Pant keeps doing it. Fast forward a few years, COVID has come in, and it's just decreasing a bit. The after effects are still there, but it's not as serious. And the Indian team is touring Australia for a test series. And even before the tour has begun, there's already a controversy. Kohli is going to leave the team after the first match because there's going to be a baby born. His baby, obviously. And there's a huge controversy. The first test start, India is decent on the first day. Second day, Australia gets good. And coming to the third innings, India is obliterated. 36 all out. My bad. 36 for 9 declared. Most of you might know what Ashes is. Do you know how Ashes began?
With
They burned the
toss.
bales. Exactly. They burned the bales because England lost so badly that the bales that were used were burnt, put into an urn, and the next day the newspaper read, England's cricket is dead. The bales have been burnt and the ashes have been sent to Australia. 2 years later, England was supposed to tour Australia, and England's captain said, I'm going to bring those ashes back. That's how the greatest rivalry in cricket started. And on those 36 of 9, the reaction from the media and the fans, including me, was kind of like that only. Oh no, we're done. A 4-0 beating, and no one's going to stop it. Kohli's home. Our main bowlers are getting injured. Jadeja is gone. Who's going to win us from here? Comes the second game. And a man who's been in terrible form before that game and will be in terrible form after that game suddenly decides to step up, Ajinkya Rahane. He goes out there, scores a century. A brilliant century. And against all odds, India wins the second game. Series tied at 1-1. We go to the third game. Sydney. India's record at Sydney? Decent. India's issues at that time? Oh, we don't have any players left to play. Who's going to play for us? And suddenly, Australia's coming back. Last day, India needs a total. But because of the mindset most Indians have, it's better not to lose than go for the win. They're like, just somehow manage a draw, just somehow manage a draw. And then there's the effort of Cheteshwar Pujara. I don't have it right now, but I can share it later. There's a post about all the injuries that Pujara endured in that game. Getting hit right and left. And who's on the other end? Rishabh Pant. Again, going against everything that they were trying. He's smashing the bowlers. He's taking on the bowlers, hitting them for 6 and 4s and trying unconventional shots. Then comes Pujara's dismissed, Pant's dismissed. Who's going to save us now? An injured Bihari alongside an even more injured Ashwin decide to put forth their feet and play some of the best defenses you'll ever see and manage a draw out of nowhere. Now, from 4-0 beating, India is going to the fourth test with a score line reading 1-1. And the fourth test match starts. There's again tension and everything. Gill is there. Now, before the fourth test match, a very interesting thing happened. India doesn't have any bowlers left. They've pretty much picked the bowlers from the nets and asked them to bowl. A stat was there that the bowlers of Australia combined had a total of 1,400 wickets compared to the 13 wickets taken by the Indian bowlers combined in that test. T. Natarajan, Shardul Thakur, Mohammad Siraj, Washington Sundar, and one name that I'm forgetting. India start well, but suddenly they lose. They start losing wicket. And I don't know how many of you follow cricket memes, but there's a person who's called Lord, for his uncanny ability to stand up when his team needs him the most. Lord Shardul Thakur, alongside Washington Sundar, stitch a partnership. They take India to a respectable score. And now, this schoolboy-looking bowling lineup against the mighty Australians decide again to pull something special out of the box. They dismiss them for again a decent score. Going forward, fifth day, again, the mindset of Indians is like, just somehow manage a draw and we'll be happy with it. 1-1 is more than enough. We've already beaten Australia once the last time around we toured it. This time, no chance. From 4-0 to 1-1, very good. Again, two youngsters who like, no. If there's a chance to win, we're going to go for it. Shubman Gill starts smashing Stark out the park. Stark, everyone knows here who Stark is and how good he is. But on that day, he just came against a man determined to throw the conventional out of that game. And then comes Pant. And just like all those years ago, when MS Dhoni overshadowed a certain Gautam Gambhir, again a wicketkeeper decides to overshadow an opener. Pant comes in there with his fancy shots, taking down Australian bowling lineup. And then there's a shot of him hitting the winning runs against Hazelwood that will forever be etched in my memory. And all those who watched it live. I was, that time, because it was the lockdown, because I had nothing to do, I was waking up every day 5 a.m., making sure that I follow that one series. And as soon as that shot went to the boundary, there were tears in my eyes. I've cried because of cricket a total of 4 times in my life. One, the 2019 semi-final. That MS Dhoni ran out. Because at that time, no matter what media said, no matter what others said, everyone in their heart knew, that's it, we're not going to see Dhoni again. Then some months before, if you go, there was a CSK MI final. And again, Lord, he misses the ball, CSK lose by 1 run. This was the 3rd time. Rishabh Pant has just hit a boundary, and somehow a team with paralyzed players and oldies have defeated the mighty Australians at their home turf. A fortress has been breached, the very famous line. The fortress of Gaba has been breached. And if you go back today, if you're ever feeling uninspired, just go back to that 5th day highlight of that Gaba test. That's enough motivation to get you going for a day or two. And I still remember the last commentary lines by Isa Guha. Rishabh Pant, you deserve that smile. Mayank Agarwal, you deserve that smile. Mohammad Siraj, you deserve that smile. I'll tell you the rest of the final of 2011 after the evaluation session. I'd like to call General Evaluator Toastmaster Rama Akathya on the stage.
So hey guys, yeah, I'm back with my evaluation. So let's start off with the evaluation session. So we'd like to call upon the speech evaluator 1 for Speaker Harsha, Dinesh Babu.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ram. Once upon a time, there lived a person called Manjula. We all thought it's a tale of a misery, but at the end, we got to know it's not. Don't we? I'm back with my evaluation, fellow Toastmasters. Now, I'd like to begin my evaluation with in the method of carefully stuffed McD burger, starting with the positives that I've noticed in your speech. Your personal goal that you mentioned is to make things more descriptive. That is, whatever you tell verbally, the audience should be able to picture it. Now, let's see. When you narrated that Manjula is chasing down her husband down the streets of Raghavendra Nagar. Jasvitha, are you able to picture it? There. You met the personal goal in the there itself. And there are many instances where I've noticed you met your goal, starting with in the introduction itself, where you've described many instances that is happening in your home, and you told the story is not about these beautiful instances. It's the story about your maid, Manjula. And the second positive thing that I've observed is wonderful description of the protagonist of the story. You told if there is joyous environment in your family, you mentioned that there is obviously Manjusha around that moment to make that happen. That is one side of the story, one side of the coin, but there is other side of the coin, which is the misery that you narrated later. Excellent description. Now, the third thing, the next positive thing that I've observed is excellent usage of figurative phrases. You narrated a sentence where Manjula was walking down the streets and every day she gets stabbed. We thought it's literally, but you mentioned the stabs of society's judgment. It is figurative usage. It's a really amazing thing. And you met the speech objective. You've given speech that is a story. So kudos to you on that. Now let us get into the things that could have been better. Now only I felt, conclusion seemed abrupt. So let me ask you this question. Did you forget the second part of your speech? No. Okay. So I'd like to give a suggestion where while rehearsing, make sure you allot the timings accordingly. We'll divide the speech into 3 segments: introduction, body, and conclusion. Make sure you give abundant amount of time for introduction as well as conclusion, because conclusion, I felt it is short. It is under 1 minute or less than that, because conclusion is what is the summary that what people takes away from the speech. So that is one thing that I felt could have been better. And second thing is body to conclusion transition seemed lacking. You mentioned Manjula is no longer with us, but she left a mark in the world. I felt you could have added more details in that, because I felt the content is what lacking there. That is one more suggestion. Now, to challenge you, everyone does rehearsals, but try to do structure rehearsals to ensure the structure of the speech. While rehearsal itself, divide your speech, allot the time, and make sure you're conveying the point under the timing limits. Now, the takeaway that I have from your speech is ending is never the ending; it's the new beginning. With the improvements, the speech will become even better. All the very best for your future speeches. Over to you, General Evaluator.
That's an amazing evaluation by Toastmaster Dinesh. So yeah, it was a nice use of the sandwich method. Great visualization in the beginning, like how you describe the burger and things. So only suggestion I would like to give you is to keep note of the timer cards. You used your buffer time. So from next time, make sure you don't use the buffer time. And coming on to the speaker, Toastmaster Harsha. Where do I start giving the evaluation? The person who taught me how to walk in Toastmasters, I'm evaluating him, my mentor and my area director. So yeah, he used amazing body language, moving forward to distinguish the different rooms, moving forward, backward to give a different surrounding, and amazing voice modulation, and amazing visualization. We could feel like we are using the virtual reality, like we are living in the moment. So that's all I can tell. So nothing else from my side. So next, we have a speech related to Toastmaster Shambhavi for target speaker Sri Vidya.
So I'm back with my evaluation for Toastmaster Sri Vidya. You started your speech with a question to the audience. So it indicated audience engagement, and you made people connect with your speech from the beginning. And after that, you connected examples with a recent speech that you heard just there. So you improvised on the spot. So that's something I really appreciate. And then you started your speech, it was structured. You started with what you're talking about, and then how you will implement what what your speech is about. And you use certain phrases that really resonated with me. And like at points, like when you said when something goes good, you take credit, but when something goes bad, you blame the other party. You used your vocal variety, you expressed your emotions in that line. So with that, I would say your speech objectives were met. And then you added humor to your speech. Although it was informational, I'd say you have well researched your speech. It had a structure. You added humor too to it. Like you said, people who can demotivate Sandeep Maheshwari. That's a feat, I would say. And so you added humor to your speech. So I would say there was a clarity too in your voice, and you had coming to parts you could improve upon. All through the speech, your hand was mostly on the mic, or the gestures were monotonous. Like, so I guess you could work upon that. Like when you say people face fear, uncertainty, or self-doubt, you could say fear, uncertainty, self-doubt. You could act it out, and you could modulate your voice to suit that theme. And coming to eye contact, it was mostly targeted towards the audience in the front, so you could cover the larger part of the hall. And comfort level, you were really comfortable with the audience, and the audience interacted with you, so I would say you did a good job at that. And there were unintentional movements. You could involve purposeful moments too into your speech. And stage use, instead of just using the for front part of the stage, you could even move behind. And yeah, so I would say you did hit us all for a 6, and you really did justice to your title, the Now Habit. All the best for your next speeches. Over to the TMoD.
Yeah, so coming on to the target speaker, Sri Vidya, amazing use of stage, great hand gestures, and nice inclusion of humor. But to add on to whatever Toastmaster Shambhavi told, you started the speech off with so, which is actually not recommended starting, and you told actually. So you can start off with something more creative instead of just using so, because it won't be a great hook for the audience to start listening to. And a few parts of the speech felt like a monologue, so you could have used a bit more voice modulation. For example, for 5-10 seconds, I thought she's just rapping over there. I couldn't feel the connect with the speaker. So you can use a bit more slower space and make sure you use more voice modulation. And yeah, you actually took a reference from Toastmaster Harsha's speech. That's totally okay using the club speeches. But when you go for a contest, it's recommended you isolate your speech and not use any reference from other speakers. Now coming on to the speech evaluator Shambhavi, great use of sandwich method. And you use reference line from the speakers for the evaluation. I wish you could have used a bit more reference line so you could have built a more personal bond and connect for the speaker to improve it next time. And you gave amazing suggestions so the person could work on and make a better speech next time. So that's all from my side. So next we have speech evaluator 3, Durga. For target speaker, Vinay.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ram, for the opportunity to evaluate Toastmaster Vinay's speech. So let me start my evaluation with thanking Toastmaster Vinay for a really funny story presented in a really funny way. It was a great story. It was not something out of the world that none of us could relate with. So the relatable part played a huge role in that, and how you were emoting your story, that made all the difference. So first thing that worked absolutely for you today was your emotions and how you were telling the story. Secondly, humor was everywhere in your story. It was not in one particular place, or it was not covered as part of the story. The story as such was funny. And you had really good hand gestures, and that really put that really animated the story. Whenever you're telling the story, your hand gestured. Actually, if I could use an analogy, I'll use that. People who hate ketchup, please don't hate me after this. If your story was French fries, I would say your hand gestures were the ketchup. So that is how it worked with you today. But of course, every story needs improvement in its content, it's how it's delivering, and let's get on to that. The first thing that I noticed was there were grammatic errors, few grammatic errors here and there. So let me tell you how you can improve on that. First thing you can do is that when you write down your speech, go to a person who you know that will improve the speech. In short, get it mentored. Go sit with your mentors, go through each and every line and talk about it, figure it out in a way that how you can ensure that there are many less grammatical errors. And that only comes with time. Second thing is, I noticed that your movements in a camera or in the surrounding of the camera was not really voluntary. It was not calculated movements. So the foot movement of front and back, especially in a video setting, is kind of not advantageous to you, because what happens is that your movements become too movementy. Sorry for the usage of that, but it becomes too much that it takes away from you. Second, the third thing that I wanted to the third thing and the most important thing was the way how I connected with you, and you said you don't want to give a humorous speech, but you want to ensure that there are points of humor in it. See, when I understand that it's impossible to give a humorous speech without humor, and it's impossible to make a motivational speech into a humorous speech with having humor in it. But maybe that is something that you can work upon. And if that is your priority, maybe that is something that you can work upon. Overall, what really worked for you was your gestures, the story, and how you were telling it. Keep working on it. I look forward to more incandescent and interesting stories from you. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Durga, for that amazing evaluation. So yeah, just have one suggestion. I know all of us are doing it from home, but it would have been amazing if you could have switched on a camera. It would have been a better connect for the speaker. So coming on to the target speaker, Vinay. Oh, there he is. Yeah. So yeah, it was an amazing speech, humorous speech. Let's not talk about your humor. You're the winner of it. So yeah, so you could have just started the speech after the applause ended. I felt there was an overlap in the beginning of your speech. You could have just given like 5-10 seconds so you could have started, because I missed the beginning. I couldn't hear what you were talking about. And yeah, you're kind of rocking a bit forward and back like this. So if you stood a bit still, you would have connected more, kind of felt distracting for me personally. I'm not sure about the audience. So you could have stood still in one place. And you used only one of your hands for hand gestures. You left your other hand just lay down. So if you used both your hand gestures, it would have been way better. So that's all from my side. So next, we'll go for the tag team's report. So we'd like to call upon the Grammarian first for his report.
Good evening once again. And I'm back with my beautiful report. Okay, let me start with the TMoD of today, Shivansh. And let me start with the good usages used by you guys. So the good usages are fondly, intriguing, impulsive, obliterated. Very nice usage of words here. And the next speaker, that is in prepared speeches, we have speaker number 1, that is Harsha. He used a wide variety of good usages. And let me read them out. Authentic, flip side, blithering, bed of roses, atrocities, liberating, and incandescent. And speech evaluator 3, that is Toastmasters Durga, used the word incandescent. Coming to the bad usages where you guys can improve. Okay, it's a bit big. Earned some 100 cash. I felt it should have been earned some 100 rupees and not cash, because if you say cash, it is rupees only. So earned 100 rupees. Important of timing should have been importance of timing. Crunch. I think some other R counter used the word crunch. It should be crutch, not crunch. And with my report should have been not with. Okay, 1 second. Okay, it's with report should have been with my report. Motivation fizzes out as soon as it came. Should have been motivation fizzes out as soon as it comes. In that journey, should have been during that journey. He is playing, actually, while narrating a story, you're supposed to be in past tense, so it should be he was playing. Temple music, I guess, is fine, but it should have been religious music. Put it through the car. The tires, I think Toastmaster Vinay was explaining this, should have been fit the tire to the car. The topics I have created is, someone told this, and it should have been the topics that I have created are. She took me should have been she took me, because it's already in past tense. If you be famous should have been if you become famous. We all came to know about it, don't we? Should have been we all came to know about it, didn't we? What people takes away should have been what people take away from speech. That's pretty long one, and I hope you guys will improve this in the future. And there's only one golden lady who used the idiom of the day, that is Toastmaster Shambhavi. So kudos to that. That's it from my side. Over to General Evaluator.
Thanks for the evaluation, Toastmaster Aditya. Just a suggestion from my side, like you gave all the bad usages. It would have been better if you told them how to improve it and reduce the bad usages. So next, we have Toastmaster Tapan, the R counter, with his report.
Hi friends, I'm back with my report. First, coming to speakers of the day, Toastmaster Harsha, Sri Vidya. Both of them are good. No crunches, no CRPFs or crunches. Both of them are good. And coming to Veerbhadra Rao, I couldn't hear some of his work because he's online. Couldn't hear some of his work because he's online. Then coming to speech evaluators, Dinesh, he's good, no mistakes, but it is a hit wicket. Disqualified. Then Shambhavi, she used so many times. That can be improved. And Durga, Durga is also okay, fine. She played well. And then coming to TMoD, Shivansh, there are many pauses in his speech. Shivan, then general evaluator Ram, there are sometimes he used sometimes. After that, Madhumitha in table topics, she used words like well, and you know, sometimes. So, and in the table topics, Revant, he used there are many pauses in his speech. And Pranav, he used, Pranav, his words are not clear. Some of his words are not clear as he's in online. And then let's see.
Yeah, before I start my report, let's give another big round of applause for Tapan for taking the first tag team role. Yeah, it's an amazing report, Toastmaster Tapan. Just a small suggestion. Could include the number of times people give pauses or use the CRPF, because a numerical value is always a hit on the face. For example, if you tell me I used 10 times, so that's going to be a big surprise for me. So I would obviously start working on that. So use a numerical value, it'll be better. From next on, if you could keep a track of number of R's or CRPFs, it'll be great. So next, we have Toastmaster Jasvitha with a timer report.
The timer again. I'm very happy to say that everyone from prepared speeches and table topics speakers are qualified. Let me read the time taken by each speaker. Harsha took 6 minutes 55 seconds and you are within time. Sri Vidya took 5 minutes 15 seconds and you are within time. Veerbhadra Rao took 6 minutes 55 seconds and you are within time.
Sri Vidya, I would advise you to go with some more with the time limit. Yes. Then for the table topic session, Revant took 1 minute 42 seconds. Daksh took 1 minute 20 seconds. Pranav Hariharan took 1 minute 26 seconds. Vinay took 1 minute 7 seconds. I would advise you to speak a bit more because it was very close with the deadline. Then Nikhilesh took 1 minute 46 seconds, and yes, everyone are within time. Coming to the evaluations, Dinesh Kumar Eluri took 3 minutes 51 seconds. It is 21 seconds over the buffer time, and I would advise you to wrap your evaluation within time. Shambhavi Singh took 2 minutes 46 seconds. It's within time. Durga took 3 minutes 18 seconds, and they are within time. For the tag team, Aditya, Grammarian, took 3 minutes 4 seconds, and you are within time. Tapan, our counter, took 1 minute 38 seconds. It's okay, you are in the buffer, but try to make it 2 minutes, and you are qualified for voting. Thank you. That's my report.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jasvitha. So it's a great report. I have nothing to add on to it. So just a small suggestion from the whole meeting today. TMoD, Toastmaster Shivansh. So I felt you were a bit underprepared for today's meeting. You used a lot of reference from your notes. It was better if you could have reversed a little bit and had a faster pace. It was kind of a little slow. Could have a bit more energetic, would have been amazing. So next we have Table Topics Master, Toastmaster Madhumitha. It was an amazing intro to the session with all the drama and all the voice modulation used. So it was a great engaging for the audience and was really a great interesting hook for the audience to start using it. And it really hit me for a 6 when not many people use the word of the day and idiom of the day. So I'd recommend all of you from next time to use the word of the word and the idiom of the day. So the meeting link, voting link would be shared in the group ASAP. So next I would like to hand it over to the TMoD.
Okay, so we pretty much come to the end of the meeting and end of that final also. That was the story I started with. We're coming closer to the climax of it. Kohli has been dismissed. He's out. And everyone's expecting Yuvraj to come, isn't it? Because he's been the man for the tournament. Every time India has looked in any kind of trouble, he has somehow come out and made India win. But here comes the captain. It's a surprise to everyone. And again, my dad goes, "Are ye Yuvraj se pehle kyun aa raha hai?" Because if you remember the quarterfinals, Australia had India down. But out of nowhere, Yuvraj Singh and Suresh Raina stitched a partnership, carefully caressed some boundaries, and again took India over the line. So far, Dhoni has done nothing of remark in the tournament. Semi-final, people were expecting maybe today's the day. Again, he gets dismissed. And again, Suresh Raina, he stitches some shots in the end, takes India to a respectable score. And India somehow again beat their arch rivals in the end. Now Dhoni has come out. Gambhir is going steadily with his flow and he's taking the control now. Dhoni comes out, plays a few shots, and there's a shot, apart from that winning 6, that will forever be etched in my memory. Malinga, the best bowler of that time, easily the best. He bowls one on his pad, and Dhoni somehow gets down on his knees and sweeps it. Now I don't know how many of you play cricket, but sweeping a pacer, not an easy thing to do. I don't think even Dhoni did it ever again in his career. But on that day, it was some luck, some hard work, and some faith. The equation is 4 of 11. Gambhir has been dismissed on 97. Yuvraj has come in. Again, a partnership has been staged. And suddenly the mood in the house, it's much more joyful. And you could feel that there's something coming. You knew it that India's gonna win, but you just felt that would we lose? Because it's been long since we won. I mean, I don't think even my dad watched the last time India won the World Cup. Kulasekara bowls a slot ball, and Dhoni just whips it over long on for a six. Everyone remembers that six. I go crazy, my family goes crazy. And since it was an official society, everyone knew each other. We all went batshit crazy. My aunt at that time was staying in Mumbai. And the thing is, if you remember 2011, we didn't have smartphones, we didn't have video calling. So the next day, my aunt is narrating what happened in Mumbai. She's like, we went out around 11 and there was traffic jam everywhere. Everyone was celebrating, everyone was parading. And that was the mood, even in a small city in Uttar Pradesh like Kanpur. And I wasn't staying in the main hub of Kanpur either. I was staying some 20 kilometers far from Kanpur. And even I could feel the emotions running high. And just like in cricket, when you somehow snatch the victory from the jaws of defeat, you feel a bit high. You feel like, yes, I've done it. But here's the thing. India wins the World Cup. But what happens next? They go to England, they lose. They go to Australia, they lose. India's on a slump. Dhoni, the magic boy, the wonder boy of India for the last 7 years, his batting, yes, brilliant, but his captaincy has fallen off. And there's a brewing storm in the IPL that his franchisees, Chennai Super Kings, might be involved in fixing or betting. And suddenly, the wonder boy, the golden boy, India's favorite son, is now being hated throughout India. Comes the Champions Trophy. And no big names. There's no Gambhir. There's no Sehwag. There's no Sachin. There's no Sahi. Where are the guys who won us the World Cup? 2 years later, they're not in the team. What happens next? India go in with an unsettled opening pair of Dhawan and whoever's fit at that point. And luckily for India, Rohit was fit. They go in the tournament not as favorites, no. They go in the tournament as underdogs and they come out triumph, defeating England. Now, before 2011 World Cup, the 2007 World Cup happened. And India was thrashed by Bangladesh. And thrashed means thrashed. They lost and they crashed out. Do any of you remember the 2019 World Cup final? Who came out victorious?
West Indies, if I'm not wrong.
England came out victorious. Now, there's a few parallels to life and to the Indian and the English team of 2019. Because English team of 2019 wasn't formed in a day or even in a month. Right before the 2015 World Cup, there's a captaincy change in English cricket team. They go to the World Cup and again, they're thrashed out by Bangladesh. And suddenly Ewan Morgan's like, all the oldies, sorry, you were great legends for us, but it's your time, you need to go out. I'm going to do something different. He did something absolutely different to Dhoni. While Dhoni went into the setback mode, take some time and assess everything. Moin went. We're going to just smash everyone out the park, every game, whether we win, whether we score 300 plus or we get dismissed at 130. But this is how we play. But here's another lesson that you can learn from cricket. Comes the 2019 World Cup and the flat batting pitches are gone. England try their way to smash, but they lose. And suddenly they have to come back and assess the situation. They have to see that their rigid approach of just attacking isn't working. They go back, and even then, the monstrous England team who was a few years ago talking about reaching the 500 total loses to Sri Lanka in that tournament, chasing a mere 240. In the same tournament, India is going on without losing a single game. And then they meet a weak English side, an English side who has had a string of losses and from being favorites are now being termed as the underachievers yet again in the World Cup. And I think most of us remember what happened in that game. The wonder boy of all those years ago versus the wonder boy of England. And it pains me to say, as a Dhoni fan, but no, Dhoni made a huge blunder that day. Should have gone for the chase earlier. He didn't, and we lost that game. Now here's another thing. Comes the semi-final. Who are the two teams I'm supporting? India. And if India doesn't go, England. No, I'm not a New Zealand fan. The first semi-final has happened. And somehow, for the first time in my life, I get to know that there's a rule that a one day can be played as a two-day game also. Again, not lying or I'm not making this up, but the first day when the batting was going on, I said to my father, if New Zealand get 240 plus here, India is gonna lose. What's the target India gets? 240. And here's the thing. Virat, Rohit, Dhoni. Surely they're gonna win. Surely. This is the team that has been chasing totals of 300 plus with ease. Surely they're gonna win, isn't it? Some 3 years later, a nation is crying themselves. The wonder boy leaves the field, probably for the last time in the Blues. And that's confirmed later, definitely for the last time in the Blues. And who gets qualified for the finals? The underdogs, New Zealand. Who they up against? The favorites turned underachievers, turned favorites again. And this teaches us very important lesson. New Zealand, no one gave them a chance except for themselves. They had that faith that, yeah, we can do it. But then there was the overachiever, England. Here's the thing. When you achieve everything, even a small failure changes the perspective of yours in the public eye. Yes, it was a loss to Sri Lanka, but cricket's a funny game. On a given day, any team can beat any team. But the reactions don't care about the logic. The moment English cricket failed, the English media was all about, oh, we're going to lose the World Cup again. And that didn't go well with the players. Because I still remember there was a press conference from Johnny Bairstow where he said, we've been winning the last 4 years. One game is not going to decide that we are not a world beater side. Comes the final. Probably the most thrilling game that I've ever watched in my life. We go into the super over. And even the super over is tied. Now here's the thing. Everyone still cries about that rule. But do you guys remember that that same rule we had witnessed 5 years ago in a game in Dubai between Rajasthan Royals and Punjab Kings? Here's the thing. In life, unless and until you're at a greater stage, no one's gonna notice you. Yes, you can churn out thousands and thousands of hours and work your way. But if you're at the low level, that is the hard reality of life. You get noticed only when you're doing something incredible or you're doing something mediocre, better at a high level. Why do people still remember Rishabh Pant or MS Dhoni? MS Dhoni as a batsman failed in the Champions Trophy, failed in the World Cup. But still, when we talk about the World Cup win, we talk about Dhoni's 6. Sometimes it's not about what you do, it's about when you do it. Dhoni hit a 6 that made India win the World Cup. Why don't we talk about Zaheer Khan, Sachin Tendulkar? Everyone talks about Yuvraj Singh. But do they talk about him more than Dhoni? Why don't we talk about Virendra Sehwag, the man who started it all, a boundary of the first ball of the World Cup? Munaf Patel, most of you wouldn't have even remembered his name. He came in with something called a slower balls that today is taking over the world of cricket. Ravichandran Ashwin, Harbhajan Singh. And there's one name even I'm missing. Yusuf Pathan, Suresh Raina. It's not that Dhoni cried for the spotlight, but it's just that what you are today will always be how you are perceived in the public eye. Rishabh Pant never went to the journalists and said that no, my innings was better than Shubman Gill. Probably wasn't, because Gill started the tone. But here's the thing. It was Pant who finished it off. It was Dhoni all those years who finished it off. It was Ben Stokes who finished it off for England. They call Ben Stokes the greatest cricketer ever. I'm sure even in this side, there are much better cricketers than Ben Stokes. But here's the thing. When life throws a couple of bricks at you, it's how you react that makes you the person you are. Under pressure, the one who performs the most is the one who's always going to come out triumphant. No matter what they say, that win or lose doesn't matter. It does. Because the sad reality, the harsh reality of life is only those who win go ahead. Yes, you can learn from your defeats, definitely. Defeats are not a bad thing. But the thing is, defeats won't let you go ahead. Only wins will. That's all from my side. Over to the presiding officer of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shivansh, for taking us through the magical world of cricket. And no wonder cricket is your first love. Good evening once again, fellow Toastmasters and guests present. We come to the end of the meeting. The voting link is shared in the group. Please go ahead and vote. And for the online guests, you can vote as well. The link is shared in the chat. As we wait for the results, can we have the guest feedback? Pranav, can you give us a feedback on today's meeting?
Yeah, it was a very fun meeting. Overall, I as soon as I saw the team on Dinesh WhatsApp, I was like, just I have like tons of assignment piled up, but then if it's for the team, it's just forget it, and I'm coming to the meet. So I was like, okay, but yeah, overall a great meet. Kudos to you all for having it hybrid, especially.
Thank you, Pranav. I'm coming to Harsha. Can you give us the feedback?
Good evening, everybody. This is my first Toastmaster meeting, I believe, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. All the speeches were really good, and I learned a lot. I love the way the speeches were getting evaluated through each and every step, each and every process. You get to learn a lot from this, and I'm really looking forward to future meetings as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Harsha. Hope to see you in the club soon. General evaluated, we have the results. Coming to the best of tag team. Any guesses? Yes, you're right. TMoD Jasvitha. Congratulations, Toastmaster Jasvitha. Going to the best of speech evaluator, it goes to Toastmaster Shambhavi. The best of table topic speakers is won by Toastmaster Daksh. Coming to the best of Big Four. Any guesses? It goes to the TMoD for today's meeting, Toastmaster Shivansh. Last but not the least, best of speakers, Toastmaster Harsha. Congratulations to all the winners. And that brings us to the end of today's meeting. Before we end it, I'll end the meeting. I declare meeting number 197, theme My First Love Cricket, closed. The session is open for networking.